Hello guys, it's Chamaster, time to do another BakuTech review. So this time we got Destroy Munikis, another very early BakuTech. So, yeah. It's of course a Darkest Bakugan. Looks pretty nice on the outside, I will say. Got the metal soul pieces, plastic cross pieces here, talk more about these later. And anyway, go and open this up. Opens up like this. Has some manual parts as well. Have the feet, and then also these horns. Just noting now, this is a 520G Bakugan, so pretty low, but yeah, here it is. It's definitely one of the more basic Bakugan, but it has pretty good cross and soul piece placement, I will say. It's very low to the ground. That's actually pretty nice. Yeah, so there isn't a whole lot to say about this one in particular, just because it's like really old and basic. So yeah, no gimmicks. Basically, I think just that like 1 minute overview is enough. But I guess talk a little bit more about it for like my personal liking of this thing, as well as just kind of the competitive usage. So in terms of how much I like this thing personally, I'm gonna give it a nice 7 out of 10. I think it's good. Definitely not one of my like favorites, but I think it's a pretty cool and unique Bakugan. I like how the kind of like there's like these feet things up here. It's a very weird design, and I really like black and red together, so that's really cool as well. Yeah, just a cool Bakugan, but it is a very early one, so definitely kind of shows. However, competitively, this is where it gets kind of hard, because I'm going to just say right now, I'm going to give this guy a 5.5 out of 10, which is like pretty decent, you know. But, so why kind of a weird score why I'm putting it there? So I would have given this thing a 6 out of 10, but I feel like it has this weird thing where it's directly outclassed by 2 other Bakugan. So, of course, it does have the 4 convert system pieces, 2 plastic, 2 metal, but you know, maxing this thing's potential, you can give it metal cross pieces as well. 4 metal pieces, it can be a good attacker. But Flare Dragon, which is like the first BakuTech came out at the same time as this thing, you know, it's a better attacker by a bit. And then also the evolution of this thing is Zero Munikis. It has a better kind of spin shot, and that's kind of the thing about this guy. It had a good spin shot, or at least was supposed to. And it does that like well enough, but I mean, Zero Munikis just does it better. And yeah, I think Zero Munikis is where the spin shot really started to shine with Munikis. I think this one is like fine, but it's not like that crazy. That's kind of where the problem this guy comes with, because again, I would have given it like a 6 out of 10, but it just kind of, I mean, it just doesn't really fill a great niche with those two around, like as an attacker. I mean, Flare Dragon already is outclassed by like Grin Dragon, which is already outclassed by like everything, not everything, but a lot of other stuff. And then like for spin shots, Zero Munikis just directly outclasses the thing. I mean, you have like Hollow Munikis as well, and then also some other things with like, you know, slanted cross parts like Kalukin or Borg Mahesis. So I feel like this thing just doesn't really get a good niche. So there is that, and it just kind of ends up in an awkward spot. I didn't want to give it a 5 out of 10 though, because it is actually a Darkest Bakugan, and you know, like something like Dragon is not Darkest, so I guess you could argue that it's like 4 metal pieces on a Darkest Bakugan. You could at least make that argument, especially if you're talking about like older stuff, right? So I mean, there's like something going on with this thing, but it's just not that crazy. And also, I don't want to give it a 5 out of 10 purely because it is like one of the first, like literally tied for the first ever BakuTech, and I feel like it's held up surprisingly well. I want to give it its credit. I think it deserves that with, you know, at least having 4 metal pieces. It's at least functional. It's just not that great, and it just kind of got directly outclassed by some other stuff. But that's kind of just the thing about these early BakuTech, and then honestly going through them now is just kind of funny after I've done everything else I have. But I'm just going through anyway, so yeah. That's really all for Destroy Munikis. There isn't a lot else to say. It's just a pretty basic Bakugan. I mean, you know, it's cool, but not like crazy. And like the only interesting stuff is like the competitive stuff and kind of how it's been outclassed. But I mean, that's just not really helping it much, I guess. So, still though, it looks cool. And for being one of the first ever BakuTech, it's surprisingly like still solid, you know. it's at least held up decently well, and yeah, I can't say that for a lot of other things, and well, maybe some, but still, definitely more limited in that regard, but this one is still doing pretty well, so, well enough, I guess, for one of the first. But yeah, that's all I gotta say now, for my voice just dies when I stop being able to talk properly. Let's avoid that. So anyway, yeah, that's all for this video, so thanks for watching, and so bye.